Good day, folks. Welcome to Just Omer, and my name is Omer Ahern Jr. I am the District 3 Grafton County Commissioner, serving the towns of pretty much southeastern Grafton County. As far up as the towns of Campton and Warren and over to Canaan and Dorchester and Groton and down to Alexandria, Bristol, Ashland, and over to Holderness, and of course Plymouth and Hebron and Wentworth and Rumney and all the towns in between. So I'm one of 3 county commissioners, and I serve with 2 other commissioners. The chairman or chairperson of the Grafton County Board of Commissioners is Wendy Piper, and she is the District 1 County Commissioner. She serves the towns of Hanover, City of Lebanon, and the town of Enfield. And then we also serve with Commissioner Linda Lauer. She's the District 2 County Commissioner, and she serves all the towns of northern and western Grafton County that aren't otherwise served by myself or Commissioner Piper. The county commissioners, again, and it's very interesting how many people in New Hampshire really do not understand county government and what the counties do. And so I think it's very important that I provide these public service programs talking a little bit about Grafton County, because a lot of what we do in Grafton County is what's being done in the other 10 counties, other 9 counties here in New Hampshire. So the county commissioners in each county were responsible historically and by statute for 3 things: the operations and the running of the county nursing home, which I'll be talking about a little bit more this morning. And we are also responsible for the operations and the running of the County Department of Corrections, which houses the jail for pretrial, county jail for pretrial confinement, and the County House of Correction for those individuals who have been sentenced in the criminal justice system to not more than a year and a day in jail or incarceration for various criminal offenses. And the third operation that we in Grafton County are responsible for, and we're the last county in New Hampshire to actually have as vigorous and active a farm operation as what we have in Grafton County. We have a dairy farm with vegetable operations, cows, pigs, and chickens, and we also have the availability of producing honey. And because of our dairy farm and the milk that we produce with our dairy farm, this is something that has prompted the commissioners to adopt the plan that I've talked about off and on in the last 6 months, called Farm Doc, the Farm Department of Corrections cooperative effort to feed the Department of Corrections inmates in the Department of Corrections off of the county farm operations there in North Haverhill. So the county commissioners meet once a week on a Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, and all of the county commissioner meetings are made available to the public in general via Zoom. And if you go to the Grafton County website and you go to the county commissioner part of the website and you look for county commissioner meetings, you should be able to find the Zoom link for our county commissioner meetings. So lately, the county commissioners have been meeting in various parts of the county complex. We have been meeting again at various places like the Department of Corrections, in the county courthouse, in the basement of the administration building, and of course in the commissioners conference room on the 2nd floor of the administration building. So it's been a couple of weeks since I've been able to report to you folks, and so there's a lot of things that are going on. County government is the middle part of government here in New Hampshire. Most everybody is familiar with the town and or municipal city governments that they deal with. A lot of times you're attending town meetings in March and some towns in May of each year, where you elect your selectmen, town selectmen, and planning board members, and other officials, town clerks, tax collectors, and so on. And of course, again, the county government is in the middle, and then on top of that, in New Hampshire, is the state government, where you have a governor, an executive council, which provides a lot of the power in the governor's office. The 5-member executive council has to approve most every appointment that the governor wants to make and every contract that the state of New Hampshire makes. So the governor in New Hampshire is not as powerful as governors in other states in the Union. And then, of course, we have our state legislature made up of the General Court, the House of Representatives, and the State Senate. And then we also have our state judicial system, circuit courts, where the district courts are, the family courts, the probate divisions, and of course we have our own state Supreme Court. And Supreme Court's been pretty busy these last few years on a lot of issues. So on August 3rd, we met, the commissioners met at their regular meeting. That was a Tuesday. And the first county department head that met with us was Craig Labor, the nursing home administrator. And yeah, this was a unique situation. This was an afternoon meeting, because later on in the meeting we were going to have several public hearings, Cdbg, Community Development Block Grant public hearings that the people with the Cdbg said they needed to have afternoon public hearings so that more people could be present at the public hearings on these issues. So Craig Labor, the nursing home administrator, came in at 1:30, and he presented us a written report that he provides every month when he meets with us. And first thing he tells us about is the census. The people that are presently living in our county nursing facility, and there's 1 Medicare resident, 85 Medicaid residents, 2 Veterans Administration residents. We have no one in our hospice division, and we have 22 residents that are private pay. So that's a total of 110 residents in our nursing home. We can pretty much provide beds for 120 folks in our county nursing home. And we have different divisions, different floors in our nursing home. And one of the most important one is the Meadow unit. That is the dementia Alzheimer's unit. So we don't have enough beds in our Alzheimer's dementia unit, the Meadow unit. And that's one of the issues that we're dealing with right now, which is hopefully going to create an opportunity for some legislation based upon a situation that we've got going on in Grafton County right now, to create some more emergency beds in our county homes throughout the state of New Hampshire. And I'll talk about that hopefully within a couple of minutes or so. So over the month of July, we had 2 admissions, 2 residents passed away, and we had no discharges that month. So right now, we have 3 Medicare folks that are paying, or through the Medicare program. There are 89 Medicaid residents, and their daily rate is $208.33 per day. It's what Medicaid pays for a Medicaid resident in the nursing home per day. We have the VA is paying for one of the two VA residents that we have, but that, again, that was for the month of July, so this second VA person may have come in later on. And we have the 22 private pay folks, and so they pay significantly more private pay than what the Medicaid or Medicare will be paying. Some of the issues that Mr. Labor wanted to discuss with us is the vaccine situation. How many of our nursing staff and residents have voluntarily taken the vaccine? And he gave us a staff COVID testing update. Talked about the Delta variant and the around us, the rising cases. But again, we have no active cases within our residents at the nursing home. And that is something to be very, very proud of. And we need to thank Mr. Labor and the fine nursing staff that he has at the nursing home. They're outstanding folks. They are, they're heroes. The people that work at Grafton County Nursing Home, because they have put up with and provided outstanding care to your family members. Maybe it's your grandmother or your grandfather or your mom or your dad, and we're very thankful to have these outstanding medical care, nursing care nursing care folks, staff at our nursing home. Again, there's a discussion for some draft legislation for emergency admissions. We're dealing with a situation right now where a resident of the county is a dementia resident is in need of a bed at our nursing home, but we just don't have a bed for this person. And the family is really anxious for us to provide for this person. And it started out as an emergency situation. This person came up missing from their home, and there was an area search for this person. The person was found, admitted to a medical facility for some injuries that this person has sustained. Again, coming out of this person's home, and the family family believes, and this person is is eligible for coming into the nursing home, but there is the financial issue. So what I suggested that we do is provide some special beds, at least 3 beds in our nursing home in Grafton County up in North Haverhill, that will always be available for these emergency situations. And one of the issues is, well, how are we going to pay for this, Omer? How are we going to pay for this? And I said, well, this is what our county nursing homes are for, is to provide for our residents, to provide for our citizens of Grafton County. So we've got to come up with something. But again, we've got a whole layer, 2 layers. We've got the state Division of Health and Human Services looking over what the county operations do. And then on top of that, you got the federal rules and regulations. So there's just a lot of constraints that we have to operate under in order to provide the needed care for our residents. So we're looking at a statute that would come up with some type of funding mechanism that in an emergency, before someone is eligible for Medicaid or some other type of public funding, because the family can't always pay for it, is to something that can be effective immediately in an emergency situation to provide the funding to take care of these folks. So hopefully I can tell you about some pending legislation on this going forward. And the other item that Mr. Labor wanted to talk with us about is Grafton County Nursing Home, or the Grafton County Complex, the Grafton County government, coming up with and putting into place its own assisted living facility. And these are folks that aren't quite ready for a nursing home setting, but because of family situations or other situations, they can't stay at home alone, And so these assisted living facilities are very, very good to provide this interim type of home care. I do know that there's been a number of assisted living facilities in the state of New Hampshire that have closed down in the last 8 or 9 or 10 months, partly due to the COVID lockdown and so on. So there is this great need. So we started talking about whether this is something that Grafton County could implement. And one of the things that comes up is because of this American Relief Program that the federal government is putting into place. Perhaps there could be some funding from what we call the ARPA program to help put something like this into place. So this is something that we're looking at, and we're going to be looking into that a little bit more. The next item on the Commissioner's agenda, and again, I want to thank County Home and Nursing Home Administrator Craig Labor for all of his outstanding service to the people of the county of Grafton County. Thank you, Craig, and thank you to all of your staff. The next department head that came in was Renee DiPaolo. She is the Alternative Sentencing Director, and she gave us a 3-month report, and her report, it was quite extensive. She has a number of programs that are under her supervision, the alternative sentencing, juvenile restorative justice, and she's just does a lot with young people in the county and trying to keep these young people that are getting into trouble with the law from getting further into trouble with the law. So she's a very busy person, and she has a lot to do, and we appreciate all the work that Renee does in trying to help our young people who are having challenges with the law. So the next item on the agenda was the Cdbg public hearings. We had the Grafton County Broadband Committee, which was set up in 2020 by the previous Board of Commissioners to look into providing broadband services to all of the communities, all of the towns and cities here in Grafton County. And so they've been working on coming up with some funding mechanisms so that the county taxpayers are not going to be totally on the hook. So there was a request for a grant, and that was also followed up with something that we worked on 2 days ago at this week's County Commissioner hearing. And so as I talked about the ARPA funding, ARPA, the American Rescue Plan funding, American Relief Program funding, broadband is one of the identified purposes for ARPA funding under the infrastructure purposes under ARPA. So this we're hoping to have some broadband improvements coming to your town or your city in the next year or year and a half. We also then had a public hearing for financing for the Children's Learning Center out of Mid-State Health Center, and that is the new operation going in out on Tenny Mountain Highway here in Plymouth. And so the county commissioners are trying to help those folks come up with the funding to put that Children's Learning Center into place out there. So one other thing that the commissioners did discuss at their meeting on August 3rd was there were 3 requests for 3 communities within the county for dispatch services from our dispatch center, which is under the auspices of the Grafton County Sheriff's Department. And we kind of held off on that till we could take a closer look at the actual agreements that are being proposed to have these 3 communities sign off on. In this day and age, legal agreements are so critical, and we got to make sure we've got the right wording. Yes, it sounds a little bit ridiculous, but when you're spending, $300 to $500 an hour for an attorney to provide legal services to the county, whatever you can do to reduce the need for legal services. Nothing against the attorneys. Nope, nothing against the attorneys, but whatever we can do to try to reduce the need for legal services, it's in the best interest of the citizens and the taxpayers of Grafton County. So that's the quick review of the August 3rd Commissioners meeting. This past Tuesday, 2 days ago, August 10th, the county commissioners met again, but this was a morning meeting, one of the regular morning meetings, and because of some transportation issues, my car broke down. I was not able to attend this commissioner meeting in person, but because of this thing called Zoom, I was able to attend the meeting virtually. So the first item on the August 10th agenda was the broadband committee came to meet. And the Bristol town manager, Nick Coates, is the chairman of the county broadband committee. And he presented some proposals for getting the, what they call the middle mile broadband fiber connection in place. And so the commissioners discussed that, and there were 3 motions passed by the Board of Commissioners to proceed with the broadband applications for funding, and that is something that is now being pursued by the county through the Broadband County Committee. Now, one of the things that you folks have got to know, and maybe you do know, is that each of your communities are receiving ARPA money for broadband as well. So the county is getting some money, the state of New Hampshire is getting some money, and your individual towns or municipality, town and cities are also in a position to receive money for broadband purposes. So I understand, we got a little memo from the governor's office earlier this week that the deadline for your community to apply for these funds, I think, is going to, the last day is like the end of this week. So if your community hasn't applied for these funds yet, you ought to check to make sure that they have, and if they haven't, try to get your application in as soon as possible, because broadband is very important. Small businesses, new businesses that want to come into Grafton County, broadband is going to be critical to their business purposes and business operations. We also had a report from Grant Nelson, the farm manager, talking about his monthly report. The dairy cows are still producing very, very good. We're still able to meet our Agrimark contract requirements and then some. And our dairy cattle we've done a great job in bringing along our cattle operations, our dairy cattle operations in the last several years. And one of the things, we need to thank is Ben White, who is the dairy herdsman for Grafton County. And we also thank the efforts of Grant Nelson, who is the new farm manager. He said the third cutting of hay on the island was very heavy, heavier than the second cut, and that's good. He said we've been selling some piglets. I said we sold several piglets last week for about $75 a piece. We're still having challenges with the inmate labor. The inmates work in the dairy farm. shoveling out the manure pits and also going in and helping with the actual milking of the cows. Our county milking operation is not a milking parlor like what you might see in some places. Our milking situation is a few years old, and it requires our and a person to go from cow to cow individually to put on the milking machine. It's something that I grew up with when I was at the Sullivan County farm growing up there back in the 50s and the 60s, and so we're still kind of doing it, but it still is a good way to milk our cows humanely and properly and get the milk that we need to bring in some revenue for the farm. And this revenue and these milking operations, we hope at some point to be able to take some of that milk and get it properly processed, pasteurized, so that we can make milk and cheese and yogurt and butter to feed into the House of Correction under the Farm Doc program. We have chickens there at the county, and we do sell the eggs. They're being sold at a couple of community businesses in the town of Haverhill, and we appreciate those folks taking the eggs and selling them to their customers. Again, we're still down a little bit with the inmate labor situation because of what's going on in the court system. And just the county government keeps going on day to day. You may not see much about it, but it does impact a lot of people's lives. And we've got good people that are there every day making sure that the different operations, whether it's in the county maintenance, Jim Oakes' department, Grant Nelson, the county farm, making sure that the potato crop is coming along, the winter squash crop is coming along, the corn crop is coming along, the hay crop, the cow corn to make silage to feed our dairy cows. And they don't have a lot of extra employees. They don't have any surplus employees. We count a lot on the inmate labor. And so we're very, very happy for and appreciative of what they do. The other department head or state official, county official that came in to talk with us on Tuesday, August 10th, was the county attorney, Marcy Hornick, and she gave us an update with what's going on in the county attorney's office. Some of the county attorneys are still working remotely, and there were some issues that she needed to discuss with us there. So, county government goes on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And we're providing for some of the most vulnerable people in our communities. The elderly, the frail, the sick, young people. When we have people incarcerated for committing crimes, we try to work with them to get them back on track through the various programs that we have in the County Department of Corrections. So I'm out of time. I want to thank PBTV for again allowing me to have this platform to speak to you folks and bring this information to you. Maybe some of it's boring, but I think it's important for you folks to know what's going on in county government. Again, my name is Omer Ahern Jr. I can be reached at 764-6024 or at omer.ahern.jr@gmail.com. Thank you. God bless America. God bless the great state of New Hampshire. And live free or die. There are things that are worse than death. God bless you all. Thank you.